Hello and welcome back, everybody. This is Demon talking about Once Human and the new Raid Zone. Jeez. I'm like half blind or something. I have trouble reading this. It's small and it has a bad font. They need to fix that. Anyways, it's July 31st right now, and this just came out a couple of days ago. Um, I took a look at it and it says, tens of thousands of people and many optimizations, and they're making a lot of promises here, which gives me a bad feeling. As a former Fallout 76 player, I'm getting kind of a similar vibe, not only with the PvP but also with the mountain of promises they make. Once Human has been much better at doing the correct updates and fixing a lot of things. In fact, I think there's been about 4 suggestions from my hive that they've actually done. Like within a couple of weeks, when Fallout 76, there's quite a few suggestions we've made that they've just promptly ignored for years. So, yeah, to hell with Bethesda. They don't care about their players. They just want to charge. And I mean, even the whole way that they monetize this game is different. They don't put you at a massive like inventory restriction like Fallout 76 does. And then, in order to have inventory or scrap, you need to pay, and it's like, screw you, buddy, right? Like, I've been playing the Fallout game since the beginning. Yeah, I know I'm an old fart. I mean, I used to play Fallout 1 in high school when it came out. I used to go home at lunch because I had a spare half of the week with my lunch break, and I'd go home and I'd play the game. And it was buggy and it was goofy, but it was kind of fun too. And I mean, if I would have had something like this to play, this would have been a much more enjoyable experience. Anyways, we're talking about Raid Zone here. So they're saying fair content, that it's going to be like a individual kind of events where you can only explore and build. Okay, I'll just read this to you in case you're listening to this. So, mode introduction. Join Raid Zone and dive into the hardcore PvP survival action. 1. Absolute fairness. In Raid Zone, servers will undergo periodic resets. All players start each match on equal footing and must explore, build, and survive against environmental threats and rival players alike. 2. Unrestricted combat. Raid Zone is a hardcore PvP experience. Anyone can attack you anytime and anywhere. You must quickly establish your territory to protect yourself and your resources. Unlock new crafting and building abilities through exploration and construct an impregnable territory before anyone else. Compete to survive the longest and defeat the mightiest enemies and become the king of the raid zone. All right. Hope you didn't mind my announcer voice too much. I thought I'd add a little bit of flair. So, fairness, intensity, anyone can attack you anytime, anywhere. That's people are going to get a little paranoid. They're going to be like, "Oh, hey, are you friendly?" Bang. Like it's going to be like DayZ. I'm getting that kind of vibe. DayZ I bought in the beginning too, and it was funny because right in the beginning people were friendly, and then when people learn how to play the game, people got way more mercenary or you know sociopathic serial killer, whatever you want to look at it, murderous. So I don't know. We'll see. I wonder how hives are going to work with this. If anyone can attack you, does that mean that friendly fire is always on? So if you are shooting and one of your teammates stupidly runs in front of your field of fire, will you hit them? That's something I actually think would make the game a little bit less arcade style and push people to play a little bit more tactically. A lot of people just throw everything, shoot everything, and it doesn't matter. I like having a more tactical, plausible, realistic-ish experience. Like, I don't want pure realism. If I did, I would have joined the army, personally. Okay, so I don't want that. I don't want to get shot, and I don't want to shoot people. So that's where we're at. But, I mean, it's saying that the resource distribution is, it's different. Everything is crap. Fair, enjoyable, fair. Weapon combat is pure and realistic. No unique blueprint effects. Instead, higher tier weapons offer superior handling and higher base damage. What does that mean? No unique blueprint effects? So does that mean that there's like no shrapnel? No surge? Like, is that gone or what? Because those are blueprint effects, right? Or how many stages you have for your gun, like how many stars? Is that gone? What about mods? Are mods gone too? Is it just guns? Because that might be a good idea because, to be serious, the whole mod and calibration with the mods, with your armor and your weapons, and then the calibrations, and it's a little much, right? There needs to be a simpler way of doing it, like what kind of build you want to do, and then you kind of plug it in, and then it says, hey, if you put these ones together, that would be optimal. I mean, it's a freaking computer, all right? Like, why do I have to watch hours of YouTube videos with people saying, my shrapnel build is the best. Do what I do and do 1 million damage, right? And everybody's, like, loaded up with buffs to make their damage numbers bigger, or they're in certain situations where their damages are larger. So it's all skewed. So if they got rid of that and made it just pure weapon type things, that might be interesting. Just cutting out some of the over the top crap. Higher tier weapons offer superior handling and higher base damage. Well, yeah, that's how it always has been. Armor, all players have the same max HP. With armor providing additional protection. Higher tier armor provides better shield bonuses with various sets and pieces featuring unique effects. Okay, so they're going to keep those effects then? I don't know. There's potential for abuse I can already see in some armors, but I'm not going to say anything. Deviations in Raid Zone. Combat deviations will grant you unique abilities with distinct combat advantages that add strategic depth to a variety of fights. Does that mean that they're changing the abilities? That they're altering them? I usually use a healing blob in my hive because I tend to get into a lot of combat and I don't like using healing things all the time. I don't know what the hell they're called. Activators and stuff. So I like the blob. I can drop them down, heal up. If it's pollution damage, insanity damage, regular damage, whatever kind of damage. This will be kind of weird. I wonder how they're going to do this, especially with the different specific combat deviations, because there has been some abuse of some of them that I'm not going to bring up here because I want to see what they do in Raid Zone. I'm not sure if my hive is actually going to go into this. Most of the people in my hive prefer like a chill environment, but we'll see. So in Raid Zone, more ways to obtain resources, exploration, crafting, trading, and even raiding and looting others' territories. When you defeated your territory or breached, all held or stored resources will become another player's loot. Only the most cunning metahumans will survive the apocalypse. See, this I'm not sure about. Like, what are you going to be able to raid on other people's places? Like, people probably have to do other things. They can't play 24 hours a day. This was a big problem with DayZ. We in our DayZ team, which is a different group of people. I mean, this was like quite a few years ago, 10, 15 years ago. We had like a rotating shift of people to like watch over our stuff and try to get things once they introduced like barrels and permanent storage. And then there was a lot of raiding. There was a lot of nonsense that happened. you know, our stuff would disappear. We didn't know if it was a reset or if somebody took it. So I don't know. Strategic territory warfare and raid zone. Your character persists in the game world and is vulnerable to attack even when you're offline. To survive, you must build a well-fortified territory that can protect both yourself and resources from raiders. Gather resources to upgrade your technology and unlock more territory, defense options including weapons, ammo, tactical items, defensive facilities, and structures. Remember, a clever rabbit always has 3 nests. In Raid Zone, you can build up to 3 territories to outwit your opponents and survive till the end. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So, but I'm wondering how much you can actually camouflage things or where you can actually put things. It would be interesting to have people, maybe there's like a group hive where everybody puts their bases kind of locked together. But we've been having trouble keeping people in the hive. People come in with a lot of enthusiasm that burns out within a week or two, and then they just don't show up. So, I don't know. We'll see. It would be kind of cool to have 3 places, but like, does all your inventory group together? Like, I have a lot of questions about how that would work, because otherwise you're just like shifting resources all the time, so that'll get really freaking annoying. Server rules: to ensure a fair survival PvP experience in Raid Zone, periodic resets and server tags will be implemented for Raid Zone servers after the update on July 29th. Reset rules: after the update, bi-weekly servers will be open at first. These servers are reset every 14 days. Oh, okay, so every 2 weeks. You can sign up for servers that are resetting soon via the sign-up system. So I guess 2 weeks. Yeah, you're probably going to get burnt out after 2 weeks anyways, but what if you want to keep playing? It just resets? I don't know. Server name rules to help you distinguish various servers. The rules in Raid Zone server names will be standardized to reset period _ feature tag -- serial number. For example, a server named biweekly _hard -AAA001 resets every 2 weeks, has an intense tag. Serial number is A001. Ugh. There's a lot of crap here. I'm just going to try and get to the highlights. So, if the server's concurrent player number is low, the PvP encounter rate will be lower. That's an easy server. The hard ones, they have a lot of people on the server, so the PvP encounter rate will be higher. I don't know. 2 weeks just seems like a pain in the butt, really. Right? Like, just insane intensity for 2 weeks. Because already, I mean, the first 2 weeks of regular game is fairly intense. And it's very important to be able to do certain things and to have your people coordinate. So, Raid Zone's only really going to be useful for people that actually have good groups together, that actually do things and do what they say they're going to do. You're going to need a good group. Otherwise, you're just going to die. Permanent servers not available in Raid Zone. Fair PvP have exclusive resource transfer rules. All resources must be obtained and used within each match. Okay, so I guess everything wipes every single time, every 2 weeks, 14 days. Raid Zone all gear, items, and deviations must be unlocked or obtained within each match. Players cannot bring supplies from Eternal Land or the Space-Time Backpack into a match. Oh! Weapon blueprints, mods, and accessories from other modes cannot be used. Whoa, that's a big deal. So this is going to favor the 24/7 players who are just going to grind endlessly for crap and then share stuff with their groups. So casuals, like people, weekend warriors, people that have jobs are going to be at a huge disadvantage for this. Huge. All blueprints, weapon accessories, and the vast majority of deviations obtained in Raid Zone are exclusive to this mode and cannot be transferred out. Oh, so anything you get, you can't keep it. So what the hell is the point of this? What do we get out of it? Just crazy, you're gonna die, psycho killer, fear, murder rage. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that. Exiting a raid zone servers does not require an exit scenario card. Yeah, because I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of people quitting, rage quitting. Characters can be transferred between raid zone servers and regular once human servers. All right, so I guess you can get started in raid zone, and then if you're like done with it, you can move to another server. But I don't know how you're gonna. You can't bring anything with you. Okay, you can pre-register for regular once human server from a raid zone server. You can pre-register for a raid zone server from a regular once human server. Whatever. Ugh. So you're gonna have to like read all this crap, but apparently stuff you buy is shared, but anything you get is not available once you get out of there. So I don't understand the point. To be completely honest, like part of the reason you do the different scenarios, like we have the Skyfall, whatever it's called, jump time, the gravity event, we get specific items out of that. You get specific armors, you get specific things you can buy, specific, you can't keep all of them, but I mean, like the armor you can. I just scrap it all because I don't care. I'm not interested in that armor. I just wear my regular armor, but I don't know. I'm just not impressed. Any cheat, yeah, there's gonna be way more cheating with PvP. PvP always brings out the worst in people. I used to run essentially a PvP clan for a game called Crossout years ago, and that's like big Mad Max vehicles. And it was, I'll just give a very quick summary. It was a game that was from Russia. 90% of the servers were in Russia. They only cared about those servers. And people would spend thousands of dollars on their builds. And when my group of lovable misfits came in with like their $100 builds and beat them, people would freak out, and then we would notice some very strange internet activities. Suddenly they're hitting from twice the range, and they're hitting all of the exact, perfect shots. Like there was a lot of nonsense that hopefully they've cleaned up since then. I mean, they were trying to cut down on that stuff, but there's a reason I stopped playing it. Although it was fun in some ways, I still play casually, but I don't do the clan wars anymore because it's just too stressful and it's too nonsense. The game is insane. It keeps changing, so that's just a little bit of my background with things. Not that anybody asked, but in my experience with PvP, it is a very different situation. This, I see, like, you're gonna need a good group. It doesn't say anything about the hive size. I think something like this. I mean, if you have a hive size of 8, it can be very, very different than people having a hive size of 16. I mean, there are people who just go out and mine. There was a turkey in our hive that played the game for like 2 or 3 days straight and just mined everything to get their levels up, and just kept processing things and kept getting medals and whatever. And then they got burnt out, and then they didn't want to play anymore. And it was like, well, what was the point of that? So people, I think there'll be more of an opportunity for people doing dumb things in this. And people who do not have like full-time responsibilities, whether it be home or a job or all the above, you know, they're going to have way more opportunities to do raids and to get equipment. Like I said, so there's going to be it's going to be hugely slanted for them as an advantage. And and people who are just in big groups. Like something that used to be an issue was when we would be playing crossout and we would have like friendly clans. We would have it's BOV, or it's this guy or that clan or whatever, right? And they'd be on our team, or even if it was a free for all type event, like we would group up with them, right? We would break the unwritten rules and do what we wanted to do, and that's the kind of thing that can happen here as well. People can group up with other PvP groups and effectively double the size of their hives. And then, like say there's 10 hives in a server, right? If 3 of those hives group up, they're going to own 1/3 of that server. Like they can effectively smoke everyone else if they're working alone. And especially if people, they do have jobs or they do have responsibilities, they have a limited amount of time that they can play every week or every day or whatever. Like some people can only play on the weekends. They just don't have the time during the week, and they're going to be missing out. They're going to be missing out on a lot of different things. So this is going to be a tough one to really deal with. Plus, they did talk about fair with all the different weapon types. If they're going to still have surge and what a blaze, fire, whatever the hell it is, elemental damage, like the boom boom does an insane amount of damage. I have a fairly tuned up shrapnel build, and my friend with her boom boom build does twice as much damage as me. Easily twice as much damage. I've tuned up my build. My build is maybe not perfect, but it's fairly well tuned up, and there's no comparison. And then our other hive friend has a surge build. One shot's just about everything. When we were playing the lunar event and we had the opportunity to do PvP, whether it was the cargo truck event or it was the doppelgangers, when the doppelgangers had surge, they one-shot everyone. Everyone was one shot. Boom, you're done. Boom, you're done. Boom, you're done. And then it's like, we're all dead. That doppelganger, or whatever the hell they were called, would gain a massive amount of strength for taking us out, and then they were just like impossible. They were just impossible to take out. I remember, I think it was 4 or 5 of us were shooting at one of them. One doppelganger. And we respawned. We were using deviants. We were using everything. We were using consumables. We had buffs, whims, everything you could think of. And we were getting smoked on the regular. We couldn't get, like, if we all went after it and we all used, like, a ton of healing and did tactical comms and all the rest of it, then we would win. And then there was the rewards were like crap compared to what we put into it. It was absolute crap. So it was like, what the hell are we doing? We would go to Blackfell or whatever, and we'd do our loop there, and we would always run into 1 or 2 of them, and we just got to the point that we just ran away from them. We would have one person do interference and keep the doppelganger's attention while everybody else got the loot, and then we just leave. That was it. Like they were, if you got cornered, you were dead. That's it. You were just dead. So that's a concern. I mean, if they have doppelgangers in PvP as well, that could be very freaky. It'd be interesting, but it'd be freaky, and it would be totally unfair too. I don't know. Fairness is a tough thing to really talk about, but this, I think, is going to be a very difficult situation for them to keep fair. I mean, if you do an easy PvP, what does that mean? Does that mean you only get attacked sometimes? If it's a hard PvP mode, does that mean you're attacked all the time? Every time you log in, your base is destroyed and all your crap is stolen. So you have to live in the middle of nowhere where nobody wants to live. You know what I mean? And if people do live in some of the rare places like my building right now, is in a very popular zone because it has pollution and it has oil. So it's very flexible. We don't really use the oil in this one because we have the stronghold conquest stuff with the fuel pumps. We're getting purple. We're getting top tier fuel just from raiding, so we don't really need the pumps. We can just use that to fuel our vehicles and then keep whatever intermediate fuel or mixed fuel, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We don't care. If we need oil, we can just pump the oil. But we don't need it. You see what I mean? And then Star Source, we don't need that either. We can just take that. Like I have 25,000 Star Source, and I haven't even really been going after it that much. You know, you grab a few, loot a few things, and it's over. So I'm not quite sure. I'm extremely skeptical about this. I'm more skeptical about this than I was the lunar event. And the lunar event ended up being a cluster F. So that was not great. I mean, overall, the lunar event was interesting, but it was also really frustrating because you're just constantly losing, losing sanity. The polluted, those shadow tree people are attacking you and pulling you into the ground all the time. Then you're losing loot. It was just constant nonsense. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on the PvP event? Has anyone tried this? Like, do they enjoy it? Any suggestions they would have? My main thing is I'm worried about. It might not even be a problem, but I'm worried about like the boom boom and the surge crossbows because they do way more damage than everything else. We've tested every kind of build. We've tested the bloody build with the lunar mods and everything. We've tested everything. I typically do bullseye and shrapnel. Another player's doing bullseye, and we've tested a lot of different ones. One was doing the frost. Frost is not very good, and we checked these out, and we're just yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just not a good fit for my hive. Maybe it will be. I know we need to work on our TAC comms. We need to get like a solid group of people to play. Like I said, half of the people on our hive have been flaking out after week 2 or week 3. So, I mean, that's what they've been doing the whole time. This is like our 4th or 5th scenario. They keep doing the same thing. So maybe we just need to get new people grouped up with us. So I don't know. What are your guys' suggestions? Has anybody tried this? Does anybody have any ideas? Do you have any concerns? Just talk about it in the comments and let's get a discussion going. Because I'm very interested in trying this out. But if my build is just gonna suck, right? And everybody just picks a boom boom or a surge, a crossbow surge build, like that's gonna be really boring. If everybody's using the same thing, or maybe those aren't even useful. Maybe it's just pistol, submachine gun, shotgun, assault rifle, sniping rifle, machine gun, crossbow, and they're all like basic form. So it all comes down more to the tactics and maybe the buffs or the whims or whatever you're using. I'm slightly curious to try it out, but I need to get a better group together. Our hive needs a better group because, like I said, half of our people are just they don't show up. So yeah, we're gonna cap it off there. If you have any questions about this or any more information, if you have more questions, I'm not quite sure. I just caught wind of this yesterday, but let's see what we can do. Let's try to build a bit of a community here where people can talk and share information. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's us Mayflies against Rosetta and the deviants and the sky whales and the lunar and everything, right? At the end of the day, we got to work together or the monsters will get us. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you like what we're presenting, what we're doing here. and have a good one. We'll see you later.